Hello my hungry friends! Today we're making sausage and cabbage soup. Zupa z kapusty z kiełbasą. Welcome back friends, this is Anna and this is Polish Your Kitchen. And here I teach you how to make Polish food. Today we're making a delicious cabbage soup with sausage in it. In Polish we call it zupa z kapusty z kiełbasą. And to make this soup, we're going to need about half a head of just regular cabbage, some smoked sausage, and if you're looking for smoked Polish sausage, look for one that's a little bit fattier and not very dry. So like a regular, probably whatever you get at your grocery store is fine, unless you're getting it homemade, then that works even better. But we want it a little bit fatty, not super dry, so it's easier to cut. And we're going to start by, and our base for the soup is going to be made from smoked sausage. So I've already cut up one of the links. We're going to need about half a kilo, and I like it cut into kind of smaller bits, so it looks nice on the plate and it's just appetizing. So we're going to start by sautéing this sausage. So I'm going to start my pot, start heating that, and if you're using lean sausage like this one is, you may need to put in a couple of splashes of oil just to let the sausage brown a little bit. So we're going to brown this. I added about maybe a tablespoon or so. You can hear it sizzling. So I normally cut it in half and then also in half, so it's in quarters like this, and then into small cubes like this. And that goes in. And the amounts of ingredients in this recipe can also vary. This is just kind of a guideline. I know my husband behind the camera, Mark, laughs at me when I say recipes aren't accurate. And what I mean is that some of them just give you kind of a guideline or what you need to put in a soup, but do you want to have a little bit less sausage? Go ahead, just use one link. Or if you like yours super meaty, you can add more. I'm using half a head of cabbage. You can do a little bit less if you like to have a little bit more broth in your soup. So kind of you can do it with my ingredients first and then kind of see if the outcome is what you're looking for, and then adjust. So that's gonna brown for us a little bit. Okay, as our sausage is browning, you're gonna go ahead and cut up an onion. I had two little guys like this, but you can do one little bit larger one, or this is probably about half a cup, 3/4 of a cup. So you can do that right now, and then we're also going to need, I have a carrot in here. I have celery stalks, and then I'm trying to dig up, I have parsley root. And I've also cut these up to kind of a bite-sized pieces. So when you pour the soup into a bowl, they kind of look appetizing. It's just, you put it on a spoon, you don't have big chunks of veggies in there. So I have one carrot, one parsley root, and 3 celery stalks. They all are chopped up in here. So we're gonna put them in a little while. So we'll get all that going. And it's my garbage bowl, very handy dandy. And then we're gonna do half of this whole head. And I also like to cut this in relatively small pieces, so it also looks appetizing on the plate. So I'm going to cut this in half, and I'll start slicing. And then our sausage is browning a little bit here, just releasing a little bit of the fat that's in there. And what I'm going to do is or a slice. I'm gonna slice it. Not shred it, but thin slices. And then I'm gonna take this and slice it some more this way. And again, quite small pieces. So we have nice appetizing bite-sized pieces. Our sausage is just a little brown around the edges, and that's quite enough because it's going to saute with our onion still. So I'm going to add my diced onion and give this a stir. And we want to keep the onion in here, continue cooking only for a couple minutes until the onion is just a little bit cooked. And also at this point I'm going to add, I have 3 bay leaves, our trio, some peppercorns and allspice berries, all going in whole. And just give this a couple of minutes. Onion is nice and brown around the edges. And at this point we're going to add our water. And I have about this much. And recipe at PolishYourKitchen.com. I have about 2 quarts.
2 liters.
2 liters and 2 quarts.
I'm just trying to get America to come on the metric system.
Yeah. And you can also use stock or bone broth if you have some handy. And I can't buy that here in Poland, so it's kind of frustrating. So water went in, and I'm also going to add the veggies. And our soup is going to be nice and filling. I guess you could add potatoes to it too, and make it a little bit even more kind of filling and hearty. So we'll give this a stir. And since I'm not using broth or boxed stock, I'm also going to add a little bit of salt. The sausage obviously is going to bring a little bit of salt to the broth, but I'm just going to add a teaspoon and then adjust a little bit later. So we're going to set this to boil and let this come to a boil and simmer for about 15 minutes, maybe even less, 12 or so, until our veggies are soft and cooked. And since they're sliced nice and thin, it shouldn't take long. Soup's been boiling for a couple minutes, not a couple minutes, about 10 minutes. I just tasted the carrots. They're probably 90% done, so there's just a tiny bit of crunch in them. But once we add cabbage now, the veggies are gonna cook a little bit more. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt because I tasted the broth in it and needed that. And I'm gonna dump in all my cabbage. Now that's cabbage soup, huh?
It's very cabbagey. Yep.
It seems quite, how would you call this?
Dense.
Dense. So we may add a little bit of water, but once cabbage softens, it'll let a little bit of juices out as well. So we're gonna let this cook for about 5 to 10 minutes. And the idea is to soften the cabbage, but not make it super mushy. Yeah, so give this about 5 to 10 minutes. And then I have 1 can of tomatoes. You can, whatever tomato product you have at home. So it could be roasted tomatoes, crushed, whole, diced, whatever.
Ketchup.
I suppose you could do a cup of ketchup, or this is more 14 ounces. I wouldn't do a cup of ketchup. But you could do a large can of tomato paste as well. Don't lose your sleep over it. So just add whatever tomato product you have to it. Or even if you didn't have any, that would be okay too. Give this a stir. The sausage is in the air. In some homes, love is in the air. In our house, sausage is in the air. All right, well, let's cook for about 5 to 10 minutes. Soup is ready. You can smell the cabbage and sausage now in the air. Let's see if our cabbage is soft. It should be. Doesn't take long. And as all the soups, this will taste better tomorrow. You can taste the broth and decide if you want to add a little bit more salt to taste. You can also add some fresh parsley to the top, or maybe a little marjoram, dried marjoram. But this is nice and light soup, but full of veggies. So it's good for you. Full of flavors. Shall we?
We shall.
I'm scared of lava. Let me taste a little flavor. Sweet cabbage. You can taste right away. Your mouth's watering. I can see it. Delicious. Cabbage got a little bit of crunch to it, but I can taste the smokiness of the sausage in it and the sweetness of cabbage, and the veggies make a wonderful broth for it. Could even add a little bit of sauerkraut to it if you wanted to. I would add it very last and boil it for another 5 or 10 minutes. That's it. That's our simple soup. It doesn't take very long. Polish cooking is simple. Simple ingredients, delicious, hearty food. I hope you make this at home. And I hope you go to polishyourkitchen.com and check out more recipes and browse around my YouTube channel for more recipes and see our adventures when we go out of our kitchen and explore culinary Poland. And that's it for today. We'll see you next time. Smacznego! Why am I thinking about this? Zupa.
Cabbageova.
Can you hand me a wooden spoon? You didn't think that was gonna happen, did ya? That was an attack and sabotage.